Hello everybody, it's Jackie and welcome to Squid Ink. Today I have my sketchbook out, I have my sketchbook out, and this sketchbook has a customize your cover date and with like this blue thick paper on the front. And I had yet to draw it at this point, so I decided I was going to draw it. I had this picture that I really liked, I was so inspired by, and I loved it on Pinterest. It was such a nice pose. So I decided I was going to just try to draw that pose and so I went to go thumbnail it, of course, because it kind of seemed like a tricky pose to draw. It's not something I draw very often at all. So I decided to go thumbnail it. I messed up a little bit initially. Now I was like, it's fine. I'm just gonna draw it a little bigger, and just so I can actually see what I am doing, not contain myself to the little square I made. So I'm just gonna let myself draw a little bigger. And then I'll replace it later sometime. So I just quickly draw a little thumbnail for that leaning pose with the back turned, the head at the portrait view. It's a really pretty pose. And this pose made me very much so think of one of my original characters. Of course, it does. Her name's Alyssa. She's a very powerful demon character. So I thought this would be super cool. In my universe, she kind of runs the underworld, so I wanted to draw her. Then I decided to mess around and maybe try another pose as well. I tried to do a nice little front view of her, and these thumbnails, they turned out so well. They are so cute. I love these thumbnails. They look great. Their shapes are so fun, and they're very expressive, and you tell that exactly which character they are. They're so good. I love them so much. Oh my god. So I just finished this one up, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be me voicing over for this entire video because my audio got all mucked up, because I recorded with audio with me talking like I in general always do, and here I am, I'm deciding I want to do the back turn post. I don't normally do that, but so I recorded audio of me talking like normal, but for whatever reason it was doubled and echoey. So initially it was very echoey, but then it was then doubled for some reason and stacked on top of each other. It was really weird, honestly. Well, that's kind of besides the point now, but just, so it was out there and aware. But I initially tried sketching it, and as y'all saw, it was just too small. So I erased it, so I hated it, and now we're just trying again. I'm trying to really sort of capture that whole oh, she's leaning. So I thought that was so cool, and I don't draw characters leaning over a lot, so I was like, that's cool. That's bloody cool. It was so exciting to draw. I love this. Can y'all tell I'm really excited about doing this voiceover? Just oh, I like this drawing. Okay, I like this drawing. It took me quite a long time to sketch it, but it was so worth it. So I finally kind of got her torso block, I guess, in. So then I was trying to do the legs. So I was like, well, let me try to do the arms, get them in position, get the hand in position. You kind of see how I have her hair basic outline of it. Try to get her arms, make sure they're the same length. Put a little picture frame in the background, and just try to get it to look pretty good. Just sort of block in where everything's going. So I kind of just very carefully, I am trying to sketch in her face, which I was really worried about because I don't sketch faces in very many different angles, which I should definitely change and try to draw things in more different angles than I do. And I know that, but I don't. But this drawing, her face looks so good. It turned out so good. I mean, look at that. Look! It's so subtle and so nice. It just looks great. Honestly, it just looks great. It... There's not very much more to say to that, but I mean, look at it! So, I was really happy with that. I was so happy with that. Then I added in, her, chin, and I was happy with this, too. Because, it's you could see, part of her chin underneath, and it's you see where her neck connects, and, it looks good. This is what having a reference does for you sometimes. It's like, sometimes I'll look at a reference, I'll be like, I could draw that. Then just, it doesn't happen. It doesn't work. I can't do it. But this time it's like, I stared at a reference and I was like, yeah. And I just did it. And I was even able to adjust the proportions to like make it look like my character. And it still looks good. Oh, and here I am. I am messing with the legs because I was having a really hard time getting them to be in like to look right. I was having a very hard time with that. So I was struggling to get these to look, you know, how I wanted them to. So I was just like resketching, re-adding in like little bits. It's like her torso, the upper half of this looks really good. Her torso, her arms, it all looks very natural. And like, it's so perfect. So I'm adding her hair, which also looks really pretty. I love it. Oh my god, I'm adding her horns now. Which, I was a little worried about trying to draw her horns. Because I was like, oh, how am I doing this in this angle? But I guess that wasn't that big of an issue. Because like, I managed to draw them. And they actually look pretty good. You know, I think these horns maybe, the ones that are like twisting backwards maybe could have been a little bit more at like a, I don't know, perspective angle. But yes, I don't really know how to do that yet. Something to work on, but like, I think really it still looks good. Here I am, I'm trying to draw and add in some more details to her leg, because she does have she has 2 prosthetic legs. So I'm trying to like detail those out. So I'm finally sort of happy with like where they're positioned. So I'm trying to get it to look like, you know, they're not just legs, of course, because that's not, they're prosthetic. You know? I'm adding on these like I like the way this looks because it's like her legs are like very it's like almost, they have like a design on them of like flowers and like vines and leaves. It's very like toile-esque, and I think it's very pretty, and I like these. I like this like little detail on her legs. It's very nice looking, very like aesthetically pleasing. Here I am, I'm just adding a little bit more detail to her dress. I'm dressing her in like the same dress. I'm dressing her in the same dress. That's funny for me. But I'm dressing her in the same dress that was shown in like the my reference picture, if you remember that. Then, which just like very simple, very open back, very pretty thing. And I'm just I take my little T-square and I'm just like making straight lines for the bloody, whatchamacallit, the picture frame in the background. That's what that's called. There it is. I was losing the words for a second there. And finally, this is like almost the end of the sketching phase. I'm just adding in the flowers on this picture frame. You know, I'm drawing roses the way you draw when you're 5. Adding in some swooshy vines that like match her leg. Adding in a couple more flowers. And look at that. It's looking so good. I'm adding just a couple final little details that they need. Just adding in some like textures to make sure I don't forget about them when I do the line art. Make sure it looks good. And speaking of the line art, I am pulling out my Faber-Castell Pit Artist pens. I have some black ones and I have some brown ones. And I am going in on character. And I'm just using some of the black ones, just outlining her, trying to get it like some, you know, texture, some line variation, and just like trying to make it look good overall, I guess you could say. And like, look, I was like really shaky when I was trying to do this line art. I still decided to do it for whatever reason that was, but I don't know, it turned out this line art's so nice. For like there's like one spot I was a little unhappy with, but that was it. It was like one spot, and the rest turned out great. Like, I mean, just look at it. The lines look so like perfect. Look. This is like one of the best like, I have pieces that I did line art on that I am really proud of, but this is like another level. And look, I did like a little hair swoopy right on her face. It just added like the perfect amount of like interest right there. It was great. And I'm just going through, I'm adding in like a bunch of little strands to her hair. And like all the little textury bits that I like. So I love strands. And I like to after I do all the strands, I kind of like to do like some spots where I do like a lot of like little hatchy bits, like at the bottoms and whatnot, at like the base of the hair and like at the tips of the hair, where it just like makes it a little darker. I back out T-square, making like the background picture frame, just, you know, finishing that off. And I'm finally going to go in with like my brown fine liners and just, you know, use them on the flowers and the little vines and the leaves and all those things. And like, so like the only spot I was unhappy with at this point was like the back of her dress, like right below her hair, like where her hip like connects to her leg on the dress. That was like the only spot I was unhappy with, because like it looks weirdly cut off, I guess you could say, or like almost there's like a disconnect, I guess. So like I wasn't very happy with that. I erased it all. I started doing some swatching like a white pencil, some reds, some blues, swatching some alcohol markers, trying to decide on a color scheme. I'm doing this on, of course, the back of this paper. Of course, I actually did adjust that spot I was unhappy with. So now it looks better now. It kind of fixed it up. Not the greatest, but it looks fine. So I decided that it would be cool to kind of keep it within like grays, like a lot of cool grays. And like with like little touches of like gray purples or blue. So I'm going in on her skin with just one of my cool gray Copic markers. I'm just, you know, quickly coloring all of her skin, trying to get it to be as even as possible. The one challenge of alcohol markers. So I'm just going to go through, do a nice quick little layer. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, and it's like, it looks really nice. And of course, as y'all saw, I did place one of those little like I don't know what you call it, a pigment catcher on the other side. I guess is what you could call it. So that way if my markers like bleed through, it'll land on it and not on my first page, my sketchbook. Which I still actually think is blank. I should draw that. That should be another video. I'm recognizing this right now. Whoops. But after I finish that, I go in with a slightly darker color. I add in all like little blushies and subtle like variations in her skin, some shadows and like all of those things. And then I take my lighter color that I had used before and just layer and blend right over it. Just working my way through, slowly but surely, blending everything out. Try not to leave massive streaks. Finally, I got all blended out everywhere else. I start adding them to her face. Give her little blushies. Oh my goodness, look. It's so cute looking. It's so pretty. Okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm really happy with the way this turned out. This looks so good. Oh my gosh. So yeah. I just blend all that out just how I get everywhere else. Same colors, same deal. You know the drill. Same sort of thing. I color in her horns real fast, all 4 of them. Then I work on the background. I'm taking this like purplish gray, and I'm just gonna go over the flowers with them, and you know, just make them be nice, essentially. I lost all train of thought for a second there. But yeah, I'm just taking this purplish gray over the flower. I colored them in. Then we'll take the darker version of the purple gray color I have and use it on the picture frame itself just to add a little bit of variation so you can tell it's, you know, different than the rest of the background. I will take that darker color, add it into the flowers for like a little bit of lovely shading, you know, texture color, and just blend it all out. And I do that to all of the flowers, of course. I add it to the vines. I do all that stuff. And now I'm taking my white colored pencil and I'm coloring in her leg, making it just like pop. And I love the way this looks. I love it. And I'm going to take the same purple gray I used on the background and use that for the flowers and vines and whatnot on her leg. And she'll reuse it, then it kind of like ties in, it matches. It has that pop of white and it looks so good. And then now I'm taking my white colored pencil. I'm going in, I'm adding like some very subtle highlights to like her horn. I'm dying. to like her horns and everything, to her face, some of her hair, just wherever I feel like it needs a little extra pop, essentially. Now, I do wonder if I should have maybe gone a little more extreme with this and just like, you know, added in more color to like her dress and, you know, just a couple other bits, and maybe that would have been a little better. But I guess, you know, I'm pretty happy with it, so we're just gonna let it be. But I'm gonna add in some stripes onto the background now, just to like have a nice finishing little touch. Yeah, so I measured out all the spacings between like, you know, each individual stripe there. That's what those are. Those are stripes, gosh darn it. So I measured out like an even-ish space between all of them and just, you know, added them all in as best as I could without it like, you know, looking weird. Now, of course, the stripes are a little, like, unique to each their own. It's like I had to go over a couple times, a little bit more times. The marker bled out a little bit. It, you know, it does the things that markers do, which isn't exactly, like, you know, the most precise line in the world by any means. So I just kind of, like, tried to, like, accept that a little bit and, like, you know, work with it. I swapped over at some points to my brush nib to try, like, you know, make it match the shape it was like sort of on, like when it had to go around like her or something. So I tried to do that. Now I'm adding a little bit of shading to the dress and everywhere just to, you know, show that it's pushed back in the rest of her dress. Added a couple more little white highlights on like her dress. I said just for a little pop, just to make it look good. And finally I added in two little earrings in her ear, and with that, it's done! And I am so happy with this drawing. It looks so good. I love it so much. Oh my god, it looks great. It's so pretty. But that's all the time we have today. As always, I hope you'll have an amazing day. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!